Hello, good evening, wherever you are. Good morning. If you're catching this on the replay, I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Yes, I am live once again. It is Monday evening, and I am doing a wrap up here. Doing a wrap up here of, and that's not getting any better, is it? that's what it that's what it means to go live. It's live and wow. Let me do this here. Okay. I think we no bloopers. This is real. Oh my goodness. Hello everybody. Well, it's going to do what it's going to do what it's going to do. All right. So my hair is its own situation. So, I wanted to talk about what I am reading this this week. Wanted to get into what I finished. I know in my last video I talked about how I was so kind of nervous about getting into And So I Roar. I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to be as good as the first one. I didn't know if I was ready for the emotional, the journey that it was going to take me on because The Girl with the Louding Voice, which was the first book, the debut novel by Abi Daré. I read that one. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it was truly a eye-opening book. Moving. It was inspiring, powerful book. And so I Roar came out in August of 2024 this year, and I got my hands on it from my local library, and I wanted to go ahead and get into it. So I will say this. I do believe that this is a sequel that to fully understand and appreciate, you really should read the first book. This book jumps right into the action immediately. They do give some backstory as it's going along and you're meeting the characters, but um, to fully understand, and I think here pictured on the cover are the two main characters, which are, and I'm working in opposite here. That's why it's I'm working opposite of what I'm seeing with the camera. It's reverse image. Adonai is here. She's a young girl, about 14 years of age, and this is Tia, who is another woman, who's an adult woman, who is a major figure in her life. And so this book jumps right into where The Girl with the Louding Voice left off. And I think to fully appreciate Aduni, and I always get her name mixed up, but it's Aduni and Tia's relationship, you really should read The Girl with the Louding Voice, because there were some things that the two of them experienced together. Although Aduni doesn't meet Tia until about, it seemed, halfway through the book. I mean, so much happened in that book before she met Tia. But to fully understand the strength of their relationship, you really should read The Girl with the Louding Voice first. I would definitely say that. And so, because of that, I'm going to be very careful in my review of And So I Roar, because I don't want to give any spoilers for either book. But setting, so this book is set in uh, modern day Nigeria. And with The Girl with the Louding Voice, it starts off in Aduni's village where she was born and raised, and then it moves to Lagos. With And So I Roar, the book begins in Lagos and it actually ends, for the most part, it transitions to back to Aduni's village. So I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to spoil anything, but we do go back to the village and have part of the plot there. One thing I was just thinking and reflecting about, and this may just be me, but just anecdotally or hearing about African or Nigerian culture, I know that women who are older, and it doesn't have to be much older, but women who are older and who are respected, they're addressed as auntie. And I noticed that the older character, you have a relationship between two women here, a younger one and an older one, and her name is Tia, which in Spanish translates to aunt in English. And I didn't know if that was intentional, but it was just something that caught my eye or my mind, and I was thinking about that. Her name is Tia, but she's highly respected by Aduni, um, and so I just thought that was interesting. But and so I roar, absolutely wonderful, absolutely amazing. Yes, read it. Yes, it's just as good. It's just as powerful. Um, it's moving. It is action packed all the way through. There was never a dull moment. Um, the characters, vivid, memorable, um, diverse. They're wide and varied in their characteristics. Um, One thing I love about, and this happened in Girl with the Louding Voice and also in So I Roar, Miss Dare has a way of talking about controversial cultural issues, environmental issues, familial issues without sounding preachy. She does it in a way where she just puts the facts out there in her characters, in the story. This is what's going on in society. This is what's going on in Nigeria. This is what's going on in Africa. These are things that need attention. These are things that we should question, that we should revisit, that we should examine. But it, to me, never came across as preachy or dogmatic or political or, excuse me, polarizing. She just presented the facts within the narrative and let the reader form their own opinions about how they feel about these issues. So I love that about her. Even though it's a great story, she brings out some important aspects of the culture, society, even Western society. She addresses issues that occur in various types of family relationships, coming from rich and wealthy families, dealing with impoverished families. I mean, she ties it all together. That's why it's such a well-rounded and relatable, but yet eye-opening book. So I really enjoyed this. This is not going to be a long video because I'm just talking about And So I Roar. That's pretty much all I got through last week. But once I got into this, once I started reading, I really couldn't put it down. I was looking forward to my reading time for the night, grabbing it and getting right back into it. And like I mentioned, it never slowed down. It just kept going. The action, the wow, the breathtaking moments, it's all in here. So I highly recommend And So I Roar. Well done. And I tell you, I am already ready for book 3, because where this ends, it can easily pick up with a third book. I don't know if one is coming, but I'm ready for it. If it is, I am ready to find out where the characters who are introduced in this book go next. We meet some new characters um, in Aduni's village, some that were from the village, some that were not. We meet some new characters, many spin-offs and plot arcs can come from those characters. So there's so many directions that this book could go for the next book. If she chooses to write a third book in this series, I would love to have one. I would absolutely read it. Um, so yeah, I've raved enough about this, but please know I thoroughly enjoyed and highly recommend And So I Roar. As far as any cautions, the way she writes this, so it's, I talk about, the presence of profanity in books. It's really, there's some minor, but it's kind of like talking about animal poop. That's kind of, to me, the extent of it. um and the way she writes, the way Aduni and some of the other village girls talk, it's very broken English. It's easy to get used to and understand what they're saying. Sometimes they take things very literal, that we would understand as comparisons or metaphors, or we don't really mean exactly the what we say, but they take it very literally. So it's a lot of broken English. So it's not a lot of just random profanity. Um, There may be some triggering issues in here in regards to violence against women. It's not overbearing. Please don't get me wrong with that. It's not overbearing, but if that is something that you struggle with in novels, I would just caution that um it is mentioned um that there is some violence against women, and it's real. I mean, it's real. It's nothing that's outlandish or just created for entertainment. It's addressing a real issue that exists in um, some traditional African cultures. So I'll leave it at that. You can, I believe, send me a message if you want more clarity on that. Um, so yeah. So some violence against women in the book, but overall, I would highly recommend. It's an excellent read. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And so I don't have much to say about the other two books. I am still doing the Lemon Tree. It is a nonfiction book. I'm reading that in the Kindle. It is taking me a while because it is a nonfiction book and it is extremely well researched, extremely detailed. This again is the story of a Jewish family and a Palestinian family who end up having history in the same home in a certain area of Israel, and I'm still in 1948. I'm almost 30% into the book now, and I am still in the conflict that occurred in 1948. And I mean, it's just incredible how what I'm reading that occurred in 1948, I could be reading the same thing right now in 2024. It's like mirroring exactly the humanitarian crisis, not having enough food, access to healthcare, medical care, basic hygienic, you know, sanitary conditions. It's exactly the same reading it now in 2024. And again, this is a book that is not biased in either direction. It's just simply telling the facts as they occurred for both sides, what they experienced based on the history, based on the research, based on uh, uh, interviews of the families, and based on the exact facts. They're documenting, like I said before, military strategies. They're documenting memos and letters that were written and transmitted through the UN, from other countries, from other world leaders. I mean, it is a complete nonfiction narrative, which gives a very eye-opening picture of um, the conflict that occurred in that region as Israel was becoming a state. That's as far as I've gotten at this point. So yeah, that's what I'm reading for my ebook, and I am still reading The Eye of the World on audiobook. I returned that to the library, and I was able to get it back again within a few days. So I'm still working through that as well. But now that I'm done with And So I Roar, I haven't started another hard copy book. So now that I'm done with And So I Roar, I'll probably have more time to finish the Lemon Tree, and also to make some progress through The Eye of the World. So that's where I am with my reading this week. I would love to know where you are. What are you reading this week? Are you enjoying it? How many books are you um, reading? Multiple books at one time in different formats? Let me know what you're reading. I would love to hear. I would love more book recommendations. And until I see you again, I hope that you have a wonderful week and that you stay safe. Have a good one. Bye bye.